All right. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am Dr. Toya Davis, spiritual teacher, author, founder of Chi Healing Institute, and I love to talk about the Akashic Records, right? So if you're new here, in general in this space, we talk about soul alignment, ancestral kind of connection and wisdom, but really everything is about stepping into the best and highest version of yourself, right? My belief is that you are designed to live a life that lights you up from the inside out. And so basically anything that deals with that, we will talk about it. We are kind of circling back to an Akashic Records conversation. I feel like I haven't talked about Akashic Records in a minute, so happy to kind of bring this energy back up. But today specifically what I'm looking at is how I actually use the Akashic Records kind of for general everyday things, right? I've talked about what the records are. I've talked about how we use them for like these major life shifts, right? How we can use them for identifying patterns or making particular connections, right? Tapping into divine wisdom, all of these things, but on like just an everyday basis, right? I use the Akashic Records in a number of ways. And so that's what we're talking about today. Really simple things and ways that you can integrate the Akashic Records into your day-to-day life. All right. So before we get there, though, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to hit the like, share, or subscribe button. Always forget what the three things are. I need to put a little post-it note. Hit the like, subscribe, or share button for me. I would absolutely appreciate that, right? So the Akashic Records, what are they? Big energetic field that hold every soul's, or even past souls, but every thought, deed, action that has ever existed from the beginning of time into the end of time, right? So it holds all past, present, and future potentialities. Okay. And because it is so vast and because it is so big and because it has all of this information, we are able to tap into the Akashic Records to help us create the life that we desire. It is there to help us understand why we might be going through certain patterns, why we might be meeting some of the people we meet, right? Understand relationships, all of that stuff. And one of the things that I also teach about when I'm teaching, people how to access the Akashic Records or people going through the certification program is understanding the Akashic Records as an energetic field. Okay. Why am I bringing that up? Because how I use it in a day-to-day, one of the ways that I use it in kind of this day-to-day interaction is tapping into the energy of the Akashic Records as an energetic field. What does that mean? Without going into the nitty gritty, the Akashic Records, when I say that it's an energetic field, I literally mean that, right? I always say everything is energy, right? And the way that we are accessing different points and different deities and different energies are by tapping into kind of these different energetic frequencies, okay? So the Akashic Records itself live, we'll go with that, live in an energetic realm that of course is higher than where we are living in our everyday reality, right? If we're think about it as an airplane, right? So when we are kind of here on the ground, this is one energetic frequency. As the airplane rises, we are moving through various energetic frequencies, and the higher the plane goes, certain calibrations are happening, right? We are what is it, like cabinizing the pressure, pressurizing the cabin, like all of these things are happening in order for that plane to go higher and higher and higher and higher, right? At different altitudes, at different depths, we're able to see and experience different things. So you can think of it, I've literally never put these two things together, but I like it. So you can literally think about the Akashic Records and you accessing the Akashic Records as this, right? In order for you to get there, there is an elevation of your energetic field and your energetic body that happens when you are accessing that field. And so as you grow and you align yourself with the vibrational frequency of that field, there is an imprint that lasts with you, right? So what do I mean by that? I mean that as you climb, as you reach the different altitudes, as you align with this particular frequency, when you drop back, when you land on the plane, when you come back to the ground, you are not the same, right? There has been an impact on your energetic field that has occurred because of that rise, because of that elevation, right? And so the more you do it consistently, continually, there just becomes, it's imperceptible, right? But it's the little small drops over time that start to create this really larger shift in your energetic field. So, ways that I use the Akashic Records daily. One, do I go into it daily? Yes. Right? Sometimes just to be like, oh, my energy is really low. I need a tune up. I need a pick me up. I need a boost, right? I need something to bring me to something higher because I can't get out of my own way right now. Okay. So that's one way. In the morning time though, let's start from the top of the day. So in the morning time, I go in really before I get out of bed. So while I'm still, when I first am kind of waking up, I tap into the records, and I just start with one, asking to understand, or my intention is to understand kind of what's on the horizon for me today, right? Energetically, what are some things that might be present, that might be coming up? What are some things that I might need to do to kind of center myself for the day in order for me to have the best possible day, right? So a question that you can ask in the morning time is very simply, what energy is present for me today? Another question that you can ask is there anything I should be aware of as I move through this day? That is probably one of the more prevalent questions that I ask. And let me offer this, because what you're going to get is not, well, in general, what you're not going, I don't want your expectation to be when you ask that question that you're going to get something like, don't go to the corner store at 5 o'clock today because there might be a robbery. I don't know. It's nothing like that, right? It can be as simple as, so the question is there anything I should be aware of as I move through this day? It could be as simple as, the energy of today is very confrontational. So be mindful of engaging in confrontations, or be mindful of being around too many people because the energy is really ramped up today, right? It can be something as simple as that. Or it could be something as simple, or it can be something like, today you will face one of your lessons, right? One of your life lessons of being able to honor boundaries and create boundaries, right? So what happens is now I'm going into the day understanding that, okay, wait, I really need to be situated. I really need to be true to myself. Like, okay, nope, these are the boundaries. I'm clear, right? So it kind of just sets you up. So I don't want you to think that you're going to get like this specific event at this specific time in this specific way, but more, again, kind of this wholesale big picture understanding what are some possibilities, okay? Then you can ask something like, what can bring me into alignment today? Right? And sometimes, and I remember once I sent out, I don't know if I think I posted it on Facebook, but I may have also sent out an email, but it was basically like, that day I had like a lot of things to do, and I checked in with my records in the morning, and basically they were like, you're going to be a BITCH today, right? It didn't say it like that, but like that my energy was going to be a little bit sour, and so I needed to minimize my interactions. And so I was able to process that and deal with that before I left, right? Before I left the house. I chose, though, to pretty much stay to myself that day because I wasn't really in the space to do kind of this large shift with my energy. So I took that information. I didn't make choices that day. I didn't engage in conversations that I didn't need to engage in. And it was absolutely true. All right. So that's kind of how I started, how I use it in the morning. When I am needing to process something that's going on, right? So I can use it to, if I find myself in a situation where I'm like, wait, what's happening right now? I'm being real jumpy, right? I'm being real like combative, or I'm like just like really apathetic in this moment, right? What's happening? Why is this happening? I can use the record. So first, what's really important is for you to come into awareness of what is happening, right? But then I can go in and use the records to start to unpack that, right? So if something's triggers me, or I find myself spiraling, you can pause and ask, what is this reaction connected to? Is this mine, right? Or is this an inherited belief, or something that I need to kind of unpack or release? And then what is this trying to teach me? That's the one for me, right? Because I don't believe that all situations are there for a reason. And so if I can understand kind of what is happening in that moment, in that time, in that space, it allows me, one, to not have to repeat it again, particularly if it's a lesson, but to move through it with a little more grace. Okay. So using it daily for emotional kind of processing. And then using it for my creative things and my business, right? So brainstorming, trying to figure out the next thing that I want to offer, even trying to figure out where my energy is best spent, right? Because I do a lot of things. They're the kids, like all of these things. Some are absolutely non-negotiable. And so then it's like, okay, then how do you fit everything else in here? Where is your energy best spent right now? Because the reality is that sometimes, again, energetically, how things are aligned, my energy in May might align with a particular thing versus my energy in June, right? Versus my energy in July. So in an attempt to not kind of spin my wheels and put energy out in a way where I'm either going against the flow, right? And where I'm fighting the flow, I choose to align with it. And so you can use the Akashic Records for that. Okay. And so that can be something like, what am I being, what is most aligned for me to work on at this time, so something simple like that. And then close the bed. At bedtime, I typically just use the records as a I don't know how to say it, it's like a projection, right? So I kind of visually project. I use the records to kind of visually project at bedtime. And then if I'm going to do or if I'm intending to do like some timeline jumping or something like that, then I'll use the records. I'm going to do a video on timeline jumping very soon because timelines have been coming up a lot lately for me. So I'm going to do a video around that. So I hope something I've said has resonated, has sparked something new for you. And again, these are just kind of tip of the iceberg. There are lots of ways that you can kind of integrate this into your daily life. So remember, it doesn't have to be something, life shattering or this major shift or this major thing. Literally tap in each day. And in my classes, if you've done any of my trainings, particularly with the Akashic Records, you know that I encourage you to use the records for a multitude of ways, right? For your own sanity, right? All of the things in all of the ways. So I hope something has been beneficial for you today. If you are interested in learning to access your own Akashic Records, I have a on-demand training that you can do. It's very effective. It takes you through the entire process of access, opening, closing, understand how to ask questions, understanding what the records are, who you meet in the records. It's a really comprehensive training. So there's that as an on-demand training. Also have 2 books. Link is in the bio. And if you're interested in becoming a certified reader, I just had someone who just completed their certification. So that one is kind of top of mind for me, right? If you're interested in becoming a certified reader, you can reach out to me. But doing that online training is also a part of that process. All right. So until next time, stay aligned, liberated, and abundant. Peace.